Just a little recap of everything.
Good. All right, good morning, everybody. I would like to call the April 21st, 2026 meeting of the Pasco County Mosquito Control District Board of Commissioners to order. Would you all please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Commissioner Abbott, why don't you lead us today?
Sure thing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Evans here.
Abbott here.
Cox is here.
Executive Director Rogers present.
All right, first item is approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion.
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Excuse me, Chairman, there's no sound on the recording?
I believe we're recording. It's recording
It says we're still muted. Are we,
for the Teams meeting.
for the
Sorry.
Teams meeting, yes. Thank you,
Thank you for the heads up. Let's try that.
thank you.
All right, can you hear us online now? The meeting.
Good morning,
Good, okay. The meeting was being recorded, so.
Just muted.
Yep. All right, so we're moving on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment? No one signed up. Is there anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we will move on. New business. Employee of the Quarter Award Presentation. Always like doing these. So it's a pleasure to recognize Walter Mikowski as this quarter's Employee of the Quarter. Walter has consistently demonstrated outstanding leadership, initiative, and a deep commitment to the district's mission. In his role as Special Projects Coordinator, he has taken a proactive approach to improving our facilities by identifying underutilized spaces and transforming them into functional offices, workstations, and organized storage areas. His efforts have been instrumental in helping the district maximize efficiency as we continue to grow within our existing footprint. Walter is known among his peers as a dependable and hardworking team member who is always willing to lend a hand. His contributions have significantly improved the organization and appearance of our shop, parking bays, and his development of Smart Sheets tools for tracking inventory, vehicle use, and maintenance has enhanced operational efficiency and accountability across departments. Colleagues consistently highlight Walter's strong work ethic, positive attitude, and solutions-oriented mindset. He approaches every task with determination, completes projects with impressive speed and quality, and plays a key role in keeping critical initiatives on track. Simply put, his efforts have saved time, improved processes, and strengthened teamwork throughout the organization. Walter's dedication, innovation, and willingness to go above and beyond expectations make him a standout employee and a valuable asset to the district. Please join me in congratulating Walter Mikowski on a well-deserved recognition. Walter, I was reading a lot of the comments on the Smart Sheet, and I was very, very, very impressed. And I will tell you that about a month ago, I went out to the shop and was out there, and then Adrian's like, hey, have you seen some of the new improvements and everything? So I went out there and saw all that. If you haven't gone out, y'all go out and take a look to see what's going on out there. It's pretty impressive. I didn't, quite frankly, know we had all that much room out there. So very impressive, and thank you. Commissioners?
A lot of the room was being occupied by
items that we've been storing, items that are no longer, necessary and in use, and just have been holding on to them for a time. And Walter has been incredibly thorough in repurposing those areas, getting rid of a lot of all of that, the items that we just no longer needed anymore. We're working on scanning a lot of the documentation that we've had. So he's been a tremendous effort behind just repurposing all of those spaces and making them operational. So in addition to that, Walter.
You don't like this, do you?
No, I don't want
Always
I know where you
jump
want me
in
to
to
go.
do anything anybody asks of him.
All right, now that, Wayne, I'm gonna shift.
All right,
your
you
camera.
want
I
us to-
apologize.
You don't want the podium in there?
You want the podium?
There you go.
I'm about to put it.
Okay, good job. All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you do for the district and the taxpayers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Before you put that back in your hands.
I'm out.
Very well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Comes with a box.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, fleet management discussion. Adrian?
All right, we have been evaluating several options for vehicle acquisition, including a proposal from an outsourced company, Enterprise Fleet Management. We've also explored options for lease purchase structure through our financial institution. We are still reviewing those approaches. We do also have, cash as an option. So Commissioner Cox, you were also part of some of those discussions, so if you have anything that you would like to add in relation to that, we'll certainly open it up to you. But just to look at, we have been exploring options for getting the vehicles that we need most expeditiously.
Yeah. So commissioners, after our last meeting, we decided to explore other, options as far as maybe financing through our relationship with South State Bank. And so we did hold a meeting with the local person that runs the local area here, and the lady who runs the public financing portion of it. And she was also kind enough to bring on the bank's bond counsel. Financing involves more than just us going to the bank and getting a loan, right? Because we're a public entity, we have to do a similar document like what was done for the helicopters. So it's much more in-depth. It needs to be reviewed by bond counsel, approved by bond counsel, and there's a whole process in which we would go through in authorizing that. One of the factors with South State along with Enterprise would be the fact that our revenue is only guaranteed for 1 year at a time. So there has to be provisions in the covenants and any type of arrangements that in the event that we were not receiving funding, then they basically can take the vehicles, right? And that's the end of it. So that comes with costs, and that's what I'm trying to drive at here. South State, their bond counsel is pretty expensive. They were in the $50,000 to $60,000 range to write the documents. I had asked Adrian to contact our bond counsel who did the helicopters, and he was half of that. But it's still a significant dollar now, right? There is some possibility of sort of utilizing, I don't know if you got an answer to utilizing that from year to year.
I did, provided that we are able to do a larger financing over a series of a couple of years, it could be done with the one issuance fee
Right, and
for
then you just
reviewing all the
pull down,
documents, and
right.
then you just draw down. However, if we were to use a different banking institution to do a second financing structure of that nature, then of course it would be a whole separate reissuance and similar cost at that time.
So there would be like different tranches that we could potentially pull down over a series of like 3 years. But I don't know, as the more I think about it, and I look at the amount that we have in reserves, what we're earning in reserves versus the interest that we would pay. South State, I think, was at 4.5, and after negotiating a little bit, they feel that they can come to like 4.2, so a little bit of a reduction, but still, you know, an interest rate that we have to pay. And since we have cash sitting, you know, a significant amount of cash, I would suggest that we just move forward with paying them in cash.
Paying who in cash?
Well, buying them in cash,
Oh,
buying
buying
the
them.
vehicles in cash.
Yep.
But, you know, our friends from Enterprise are here. I don't know if, I'd be more than happy to give you an opportunity if you'd like to, you know, say anything or address anything, you're more than welcome to do that.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Some of this information is new to us, obviously the discussions with the bank, but nationwide, government entities are moving away from putting cash into a depreciating asset. And yes, that comes with an interest payment, but the analysis that we put together that shows cash versus leasing comes out more advantageous to the tune of $121,000 over 10 years. And the way that works, government entities have a great buy on vehicles, right? Enterprise has the ability to resell vehicles extremely well. We sell 1 million vehicles a year. We find the right time to get out of a vehicle. We have numerous partners here in the local area that take advantage of that. The property appraiser, as well as the county itself, sells vehicles through Enterprise. We're helping highlight the right time to get out of those vehicles with annual meetings. And again, paying cash for vehicles, it's like, obviously there's been a big push with Doge in the last year and a half, right? Government entities are moving away from paying cash for vehicles because it is not advantageous. That cash can be better served elsewhere, much like how private entities do the exact same. So again, this analysis has been put forth before. I know it's been reviewed by council. So over 10 years, looking at doing cash purchases, and we, in the analysis, if you guys look at this page right here, it shows that over your 31 light vehicles, if you were buying 2.7 vehicles a year, so let's say 3 for round up, with the reduction, you guys were basically holding vehicles for just over 11 years historically in your fleet. And that's over the analysis done on your current fleet today. So purchase of 112,000, you're getting out of vehicles at 11.28 years, so getting some money back. But we're showing that if you lease those vehicles over 10 years, the reduction in maintenance, the reduction in fuel costs, as well as getting out of the vehicles at a 5-year latest time frame, getting more return back in, that's where those $121,000 in savings come from.
What's the number just above that, the minus 29?
So we evaluate on a 10-year analysis, and then what happens with those vehicles that were bought in the 10th year moving forward as well. So the 121,573 is with the equity in those vehicles in that 10th year. The number right above it does not include the equity for those vehicles that were purchased in the 10th year.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, one of the main reasons why government entities are trying to do, you guys are always charged with doing more with less, right? Always the case, safety being the biggest thing. If you're saying that you can run a fleet of vehicles on a 5-year versus 12 years, the safety equipment in those vehicles is vastly improved. I was at the, I think I told this last time I was here a couple meetings ago, Polk County Schools, one of their council members said, if this is a cost neutral, or even a little bit of a cost, but it saves one life, then that's why we're here, that's why we're making decisions that way. And you know, they expanded their program from 50 vehicles to over 350 in that meeting because of that.
I think that this program that you have makes a lot of sense for a lot of different public entities. You know, you mentioned the property appraiser's office. I think that's a perfect use for that because it's a budgetable item for him. I'm assuming he probably has you do the maintenance as well. So he uses local people for maintenance?
Correct.
Yeah. So he's outsourcing that, whether he outsources it to you or he outsources it to somebody local. That makes a lot of sense. The track record that the district has is, they have a very good track record in the resale value of their vehicles. And in talking with CJ and Adrian and Nick, I think the thing that's sort of been lacking is, you know, they sort of use this 100,000 mile mark or 10 years as to cycle the vehicles out. I think there's a general consensus among the staff that that probably needs to happen a little bit more often because of some of the safety features that continue to come out of things. Because clearly the vehicles we have now very lacking in the safety features, you know, so I'm an advocate of doing something to get this moving. But because of the specialized nature of the operations here, I'm not overly convinced that it is best to just rent the vehicles. Because there's a cost to that. I mean, enterprise has to make money.
Yeah.
I respect that. But I don't personally feel like it's the best fit.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's definitely an interest component with that. Again, the resale factor, that we've got studies that prove out anywhere from $3,000 to $6,500 better in resale than the way government entities sell. I'm going out to Pasco County actually on Thursday. They credit us $3,500 based on analysis of them selling vehicles the way they've been doing it and the way that we do it as well by hand selling our vehicles. That more than makes up for the cost associated with an interest. And then you made the comment about, well, how long should we hold a vehicle? We want to do it sooner. So if you're doing it sooner, you're replacing vehicles more, there's more of a capital outlay on an annual basis, as well as how do you identify when that is? Currently 10 years, 100,000 miles. I'll tell you, for government entities that doesn't make sense, and obviously that's what you alluded to there. But Enterprise runs a fleet of 2.5 million vehicles. We live in this stuff daily, annually, and those are the sort of expertise that you get as a part of an interest component. Yeah, there's a cost. We're a for-profit company, but that's part of the expertise that government entities get. I'll tell you, through COVID, there were government entities that were cycling out of vehicles in a year or two because resale was so high, and the ability to order vehicles directly from manufacturers, which dealerships were not passing those savings on, right? They were charging way extra. And that's an extreme example, but that's the expertise of partnering with a fleet management company versus you're paying cash and doing it yourself.
But see, I sort of look at that as being a little bit problematic for us because it's not just a simple, for the majority of the vehicles here, it's not just simple, you trade keys one day.
Right.
Right, there's a big process that has to go through.
Correct.
And they only have a limited amount of capacity back there, just like everybody else. So,
That's a fair point.
you know.
Yeah, and obviously logistics, enterprise, we wouldn't say, hey, here's your plan, good luck with it. We have local representation that assists with, you know, if we need to, it's 9 vehicles that you guys wanna do this year, right? When do you want those 9 vehicles in it? All at one time's gonna be tough, right? So helping with that. We evaluated only the light vehicles, light duty vehicles, because you've got some stuff that has higher aftermarket, which should be ran longer. So this analysis on the light duty fleet, that's the bread and butter of the fleet that should be replaced at a timely fashion. And financially, obviously, that's where it makes sense.
Do we know a cost of what it takes to convert one of our ULV trucks over to a new one? You know, basically, I know with our vehicles, with the federal government, you know, we had a cost for putting in lights and sirens and stuff that we had to take into consideration, you know, every so many years. So what, do we know the cost of what it takes to convert an old ULV to a new one, roughly?
We don't have all of that compiled in one place, but I mean, between the labor and the materials, you know, we can very easily get that number because we know the amount of time it typically takes to outfit or to upfit the vehicle specific for whether it's ULV or if it's a larger truck, which does vary significantly because of the amount of upfitting. And so that's something that we can pull together pretty quickly, but we don't have that readily available right now.
I just recall we had difficulty getting our F-150 fleet, especially during COVID. Do you foresee a continuation of that, or are we up to speed?
So we've transitioned a lot of the F-150s to the Maverick. You know, we're able to still accomplish our operational goals, but they're hybrids, so you know, they're much more economic in terms of fuel capacity. So as far as the F-150s in particular, we're not really looking for F-150s. The vehicles that we were going to be, that we're discussing, the 9, were 2 SUVs and the remainder were Maverick trucks. And then the following year would be 2 of the F-350s, so the larger truck that we upfit for our larger side vehicles, and the remainder would be Mavericks. The Mavericks are doing the upfitting for those, whether it's for the ULV or if we're using them for entomology or another department, that is much quicker and can be done, you know, in a lot lesser time than the upfitting of the larger side trucks. So larger side trucks, you know, we're doing all of the nav pipe, the bed is different, you know, we're refurbishing those as long as we can, depending on their condition. So there is more that goes into those. You know, the painting of the vehicles, that's also changed over time. We're not doing the entire ULV trucks now, it's, you know, just a portion of them in the entomology trucks, instead of the entire vehicle. So the time has decreased, the time that it takes to upfit them for each specific need, primarily for anything that we're doing in the Mavericks.
So would it make sense to, you know, go with Enterprise with just the regular fleet vehicle versus, I'd say fleet vehicle, I mean like a office or admin type vehicle, and then keep doing what we're doing with the F-150s, the ULVs and all that, or?
So that is the approach that we were looking at when we first started this discussion a couple of months ago. But I think if we were to have an actual fleet vehicle replacement policy in place, we could still achieve everything that we were trying to do in terms of cycling the vehicles out more frequently and enhancing safety measures, things like that. I think that that can still be accomplished, provided that we actually have a policy in place, and then, you know, we have to dedicate the funds to doing that. When we surplus vehicles, the cash that we get for those vehicles, and to your point, you know, historically we have done very well in surplusing the vehicles because of the condition that we maintain our vehicles in. So, you know, where other governmental entities may not have, or looking to surplus our vehicles in the condition that ours are, we actually see a really good return historically on the vehicles that we're surplusing. But that money, you know, obviously we can earmark that money in the budget for replacement of vehicles for the following year. Currently, we don't have a line item for that in the budget, but that's something that we can look at doing, and so that we have at least some funds that go into the replacement costs for the following year that are already dedicated because they came out of fleet originally.
Talking about the resale, for decades now, we've been selling at Tampa Machinery Auction. It's done very well. I've attended a few of them over the years, and people literally stand in line and bid it up because they know we're coming. And people even from South America put them on ships and take them. I mean, North America, South America. So it's obviously, our in-house maintenance program's done very well to prep them. They have log books, you know, so it has turned out well. I'm not knowing what some of the other government agencies, how they handle resale. I mean, we've had success with ours, so fortunately.
I can comment on that. Most government entities run through auctions. Again, auction, there's people that are making money off those vehicles, right? They're not buying the vehicles just to keep them, they're then selling them. So enterprise, the way we market our vehicles, we have people that cancel those vehicles that are judged on how quickly and how much they sell. It's easy to sell a lot of vehicles if you sell them at a low price. We sell over 1 million vehicles a year versus auctions. Again, that's where those $3,000 to $6,500 difference comes in, any government entity.
Is there any restrictions on painting a vehicle? I mean, so we're gonna lease it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, they're your vehicles,
Not everybody likes Omaha orange.
right? You're right, I think you guys do a wrap now, so that's easy to remove. But ultimately, they're a leased vehicle, but they're your asset. At the end of the day, it's more of a flexible financing versus what you typically consider a lease from a dealership. There's no penalties for wear and tear or early termination. It's an open-ended equity lease to where, let's say 5 years from now, if this were to move forward, it makes sense to run it another year. There's the flexibility to do so. And then let's say that the vehicle is paid off and we sell the vehicle for $20,000, that amount comes back. And if there's less mileage, if they're in great condition, we'll be able to sell that vehicle for more because of how well that you all are saying that you keep your vehicles, and I don't doubt that.
All right, I appreciate it. Yeah, so Adrian and I were having a conversation before the meeting, where we really chatted about when we sell a vehicle, that money just basically goes back into the general fund. And my thought is that we should reserve that money for the following year, right? And so that helps offset the cost of acquiring. You know, we got into budget conversations this year that that's what prompted them to remove buying any vehicles right out of things. But with the fact that instead of building a campus, we're gonna remodel, I think that it makes sense to utilize part of our reserve funds, which is $14,530,000. You know, use part of that to just, for this first year. You know, I'm not saying no to forever to enterprise, but I'm just sort of saying not this year, starting. It may make sense later based on what our reserve situation looks like. That's my thoughts.
But those funds are reserved for the new campus, right? So we're kinda,
Not anymore.
No,
Yeah.
not for the new campus, for the renovations to this
yeah.
campus, yes.
If I may,
So, let me ask Attorney Donaldson just a question. So, Laura, anything that we just said, it causes you any concern about reserving money from vehicles that we sold?
No, not at all. I mean, you can just make it a sign that those revenues would go. And I would like to say, under the statute, enterprise cannot sell your current vehicles. So it would be done, unless they're under $5,000 in value, they would continue to have to be under the statute to be sold at public auction. And so I just wanted to let you know. And also, there are changes that if the district wanted to enter into an agreement with enterprise, I briefly looked at their contract and I would have changes to that. So I did just want to point out, in addition, there would be additional legal costs associated with moving forward with enterprise. But yeah, I mean, there is an expectation that because the campus is not being built, that the district is going to spend those funds. And I do, from a policy standpoint, I know, Mr. Chair, that's not what you're asking. I do think that there would be concerns raised that there's all this money in reserves and you're gonna get money when you sell the property in a year, that you're effectively spending more money when you could just use reserves to buy the vehicles.
I appreciate the comment.
Just, and again, last comment from ourselves then, we have government entities that in years where they have a surplus, they put all the money into the vehicles, still leveraging enterprise and partnering with enterprise, but obviously paying everything down. And that eliminates an interest component still. And then on a year-to-year basis, evaluating how you're gonna buy vehicles. It doesn't have to all be leased, doesn't all have to be all the money down. So again, I know that's probably a separate subject to maybe touch on with yourself, but want to at least put that out there as an option too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner, what are your thoughts? I think that the staff would like to move forward with, one direction or another, because I think that we do need to replace those vehicles.
I think it's been pretty comprehensive, while looking at it, and also enterprise looking at it, so I follow staff's recommendations.
Staff recommendation is?
Staff recommendation is we go ahead and move forward with the purchase of the 9 vehicles. In addition to that, develop a policy for vehicle replacement. So, formerly we were using a soft policy, if you will, of 100,000 miles. So if you want to look at reducing that number for the mileage to be replaced, I think that's something that would help us achieve the maintaining a higher level of safety in replacing it with the newer vehicles. And then lastly, we can work on, would it be a separate line item for those, the revenue from the surplus?
Correct, so we do
vehicles?
have in the budget a separate line item for the revenue of any asset.
Yeah.
But again, that's not
It
marked.
needs to be restricted.
Correct, it could be restricted, we can have a two line items on that specifically. But I just want to make sure that we understand that the 14 million is reserved that we can't touch this year. We have $3 million in capital outlay that we're able to use for whatever we want. We had it marked for renovations, but it's capital outlay in the purchases of vehicles this year will fall under that category. But if we're talking about the 14 million, that's already reserved for next year's budget, and then we can make an adjustment then. So if we wanna buy vehicles this year, then we have to use the $3 million that we have budgeted for capital outlay versus the 14 million.
Right,
Okay. Unless we did a budget amendment.
right, which,
But we can't, that, once you earmark that, you can't.
not from future capital outlay.
Correct.
But that is sufficient because we are further delayed in the procurement of architectural services.
Yep.
That $3 million is not going to, it's not likely that we'll be spending through that $3 million this fiscal year. So there is plenty of money in that account to be able to purchase the 9 vehicles now.
Correct.
All right, so we have.
I know, I'm gonna comment on the hybrids, so we're not quite there, I think, in this, whatever the number is, the 10-year, 100, less, more, whatever. But I think the thing I wonder, do we know, like EVs, but like hybrids, is there a sweet spot that we should be selling them, you know, because we do such low mileage each year?
So CJ's been
And the
working on
internal
that.
combustion engine, I mean, we have so much history on that, but
Yeah.
what are hybrids? I mean, when do we get that peak sale?
I think CJ has a plan on that. He was explaining it to me this morning.
Okay.
It's quite in-depth.
All right.
But, I mean,
But, I mean.
the staff has been working on.
Yeah, we don't,
trying to-
I mean, we don't have to do that today,
Yeah.
just thoughts. Okay.
So we can certainly research that a little bit further and make that part of the draft policy that we'll work on and bring back to the board at a future meeting.
Okay. All right, so we have a recommendation from the staff. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I move,
Can you
go ahead.
restate the staff's position, please?
My position is that we move forward with purchasing the 9 vehicles out of the cash that we have in our operational budget for this year. And then, in addition to that, develop a policy for vehicle replacement. And we'll do a little bit more research on what that preferred mileage number or years of age would be to include in the policy. And we'll bring back the policy at a future meeting for your review and approval, and then additionally have an earmarked line item on the budget for the revenue of the sale of our surplus vehicles. That will be
Okay.
then used for
Future years.
future year vehicle replacement.
So for clarification, we're purchasing them, we're not going through enterprise currently, correct?
That is
Correct.
staff's recommendation.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
So I'll interpret, I'm good with that as a form of a motion.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
None?
I think Matt was in the middle of
No, I'm glad you memorized that motion.
All right, not hearing any further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Cool. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, general information, director's
Thank you both.
report, district operations.
All right. If you would advance. Oh, I have it now. Thank you. There we go. Here on the slide, you will see service requests for the month of March 2026 compared to last year's trends of service requests. These are combined requests for service, so these represent not only mosquito inspections, but also aquatic plant surveillance and control and any special events that we may have had, thank you, during that month. So far in 2026, we are trending just slightly lower than service requests received in 2025, with a total for the month of March at 56. Records requests for the year, we are at 49 requests received. Tire collection,
Back up one, please.
this is for fiscal year, so.
Oh, okay, just one that hasn't been paid.
So, wow, 6 were canceled, huh?
Okay, thank you.
Now that typically represents, if a request was made, we invoice the requester for the time in which it's going to require to fulfill the request, and they either come back and say they don't want it fulfilled, or we just don't hear anything back about it.
And we can't charge for quotes, probably.
Unfortunately, no, we cannot. And there is a significant amount of time that goes into
Oh, yeah.
generating a quote. We've talked about that ad nauseum in the past.
Okay.
You know, it's many, many hours depending on the length and complexity of these record requests. Tire collections. We have this year, following the district's free used tire drop-off event that I'll let Ms. Johnson report on in a little bit more detail. But total tire collected, including those, we are at 6,010 tires for this fiscal year, over 180,000 pounds of used tires. And that represents a cost to the district of over $20,000 to properly dispose of said tires.
Okay,
That's amazing.
let me ask a little bit about that. So 6,000 tires, so the citizen takes it to the dump, it's $2 a tire. Is this Angelo's fees?
Either Angelo's or Pasco County,
Oh, it's a mix. What's
It is a
Pasco
mix.
County at now?
their actual fee.
Yeah,
If you give
I'll
us
have
a
to.
moment, we
It's
would
probably
we
by
can look it
ton,
up.
right?
It is by
It's
tonnage.
by ton, yeah.
okay.
Um,
Are they
I don't know one of the
getting any
invoices.
closer to Angelo's, or Angelo's still quite a bit less?
Angelo's is cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Angelo's is cheaper.
Still quite a bit?
Yeah.
But in certain situations, it doesn't
Oh,
make
okay,
sense
so
to
that,
utilize.
all right, I'm just thinking that's 6,000, that doesn't identify what type of tire, because it's more
It
for the
does
bigger
not.
tires. Right, okay, so.
You wanna go by weight, not
It's-
by.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's all by weight,
okay, thank you.
okay?
And we're gonna seek reimbursement for the state for those expenses.
Correct.
For the ones related to the
The
tire.
amnesty, correct.
Amnesty, correct.
But we're not, are we eligible for that? I thought we were,
So when we hold a tire amnesty event like
Right.
that, we work through Department of Environmental Protection in Florida, and there is grant funding available that they reimburse that with. So last year was the first year that we took advantage of that, and in our tire amnesty event, unfortunately, last year was not nearly as successful as this year. This year we had a tremendous response.
That was great.
And so all of the equipment that we use, so we do rent equipment to be able to move that many tires. And then the fees that we're paying for the disposal of the tires, that's reimbursable.
good. Yeah, cause I thought it was just the lower tier, mosquito control districts that got the state funds.
So that's the aid to local government state funding.
Right.
So only tier
Different.
2 and tier 3 programs, so programs with budgets under $3 million, have annual money that comes from the state. That is a separate fund, or separate funding mechanism. This is through the waste tire fund, it's all through the waste tire fund, excuse me, but, that is annual money that goes to supporting mosquito control programs based on budget levels. So we do not receive any of that funding. This is a separate opportunity that we have, that's available to any program in the state that's
Good.
doing a tire roundup event, essentially.
Excellent. Cool.
Here you see a heat map of surveillance data collected for adult mosquitoes in the month of March 2026, with total number of mosquitoes for 26 March, and then also that of 2025 compared to last year. We've had several new hires since our last meeting, so trying to, again, always looking at enhancing the way that we're presenting information to you all. So you'll see we've added some pictures this go around, and we'll be using this trend moving forward. We've had Ms. Brooke Lambert join us as an entomology technician, Mr. Thomas Kinsella as a part-time surveillance tech, and then we have Ben Bilbro and Brody Painson, our newest mosquito technicians. So join me in welcoming our new members to the team. We also had a number of staff celebrating March anniversaries working with Pasco County Mosquito Control District. So on the next two slides, you'll see those reflected with their years of service in helping protect public health here in Pasco County. Most notably, we have Mr. Brett Hicks, our aquatic herbicide supervisor, who is celebrating 19 years of dedicated service with PCMCD. And we also have Dale Cammers, who has been with us for 8 years. We have Kayla Godfrey and Isom Ingram are just celebrating their 4-year anniversary. And we have Ms. Desiree Edwards and Walter Michalski at 3 years. 2-year anniversaries. Let me move on to the next slide. We have Brian Gentry, Kyle Yeager, and Spencer Young. And then celebrating 1 year with the district, we have Kellen Valentine and William White. I'm honored to announce that the Pasco County Mosquito Control District was just recognized as a recipient of the 2026 Top Workplaces in the Tampa Bay region, ranking number 20th of the small to medium-sized organizations based on our employee size. And this recommendation, this recognition is especially meaningful because it's entirely employee-driven. One of our staff members nominated the district, and participation in the process is fully voluntary. A third-party survey is administered directly to employees with a minimum participation threshold required to even be considered and then to progress through the process, which we achieved an 82% participation rate from staff. Again, completely voluntary, there's no incentives, no compensation, no directed participation associated with it. It was merely, you know, their own volition, whether they wanted to or not, and the results reflect their authentic feedback on the organization and the culture that is experienced by our staff. So I'm very proud to be able to present this information. At its core, I think this recognition speaks to the people who make up this organization and the culture that we have built together. So, you know, one that's been rooted in collaboration, professionalism, and shared commitment to public service. So again, very, very proud to acknowledge this recognition.
You should be very proud of it.
Yeah,
That's a great,
absolutely.
that's a great accomplishment. It speaks volumes to the whole organization. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've suddenly lost the ability to advance. Thank you. We have our 75th anniversary celebration coming up, so I won't go too much detail because I know Ms. Johnson is going to be, actually, do you want to just skip to that piece of yours instead of circling back to it? Sorry to.
No.
Doesn't really make sense when we do
Never
it
be
that
sorry.
way.
We can combine community outreach.
Yes.
So we're super excited to be celebrating such a milestone here in Pasco County Mosquito Control District for our 75th anniversary with a combined ribbon cutting with our chambers locally that we are members of. So the Greater East Pasco and Greater Pasco Chambers of Commerce representatives from those two chambers will be here to do a special ribbon cutting in honor of our 75th anniversary. So we're truly looking forward to that. We have a great day planned for not only our team here, but our residents of Pasco County. So we've been inviting as many people as we can, posting it on our social media sites. We do have a dedicated area on our website as well. Right now, we're weeding through some really fun pictures. So commissioners, if you happen to have any pictures that in your tenure here at Mosquito Control, we would love to have them, so you can get them to myself or Adrian. We would love to incorporate those in our presentation slideshow that we'll be doing. So stay tuned for more information, but I would encourage the commissioners to also invite those that you know that maybe we haven't been able to reach out to or that we don't know about. So please invite family, friends, colleagues. That would be great. And we're trying to do some RSVPs, so if you happen to know if they're attending, let me know, please. But no worries if you forget somebody and they come anyways. So, anything else,
No,
Director?
that is great.
Okay.
The only thing that I'll add to that, if you happen to have any knowledge of historical events
Yeah.
of significance, please, let us know.
Let us know.
Any members in the community who may have any insight into that, and we'll try to make sure that's highlighted in the event as well. Great, appreciate that, Ms. Johnson.
No problem.
Additionally, last month I was tasked with developing the process to support our online board meeting participation, consistent with the policy that the board adopted on March 17th. So just as a refresher, I did report because it happened, maybe 2 days prior to the last meeting. In the period immediately following our last board meeting, we were working on the systems that we had impacted by the lightning strike, and so we spent a significant amount of time. We're actually still working through some of the remaining system repairs, including components to our fuel management system, and we are in a position where we temporarily reduced internal capacity to fully develop and implement that process. So while we do not have anything online about that currently, we did not have anyone reach out to us prior to today's board meeting to request comment at today's board meeting. And so while we don't have the information up on our website yet, we do want to emphasize that that remains a priority. So we'll be working on that and hopefully have that once we are fully stabilized and capacity is restored. We will move forward in developing that and getting it onto our website. Okay, next item I have for you all, briefly address budget preparations for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. At the May board meeting, so next month, we will be presenting the first draft of the upcoming fiscal year budget, so I want to just ask that you all begin considerations for those discussions. In this month's budget summary, for your review, I've asked Finance Director Brent to include the year-to-date spending, so you should have that, so we'll continue to update that moving forward, so that you can see what the percentages are to provide some additional context and clarity as to where we are with budget items. But I do want to make an important note as you're reviewing those figures. Many of our expenditures are, as you know, highly seasonal in nature. So, you know, for example, if you're looking at category 60 capital outlay, you'll see that as of closeout of March, that budget number, the percentage spent year to date is very low. However, since the closeout of March, we've made probably over $1 million worth of product purchase in adulticide alone. And that's not even stocking up on larvicide. So, you know, again, a lot of what we do is very seasonal, so we still have 6 months left in the fiscal year, so we'll have plenty of time to be getting those to the capacity that we anticipated we would be on for this fiscal year. But as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, of course, those numbers are going to change, and we'll continue to provide updated numbers each month.
Quick question on that.
Yes.
OPEB, it's been zeroed out now? I know you all were looking at the details of that, but just, there must still be something in the budget for that, isn't there?
What is OPEB?
Other post-employment benefits. And that's, we don't have a budget line item for that specifically, it's just captured in our total budget. I'll have to see, Correct.
The DAX budget does.
correct, I have to see where that number went, and we still have it, it's just not printed. So it might be a mistake on my end of deleting it accidentally.
Okay, all right, very good. I'll take a look at it next month.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that before I move on?
No, you know, just reviewing that, I noticed that our receipts year-to-date for Appalorans is you know, a fair amount higher than it was at this point last year. Just wonder if people paying their tax bills sooner rather than later, I guess.
Well, that, and we had an increase on
Yeah.
the ad valorem.
Yeah.
So just because we rolled back doesn't mean that we're not getting a little bit more money. So I don't have data as to who's current and who's not in the taxing sector, but.
Okay.
Okay. Next, an update on RFP 252603 for our professional architect services related to the renovations for our Odessa campus here. This solicitation did become active on March 22nd, and to date we have had 17 firms request the full solicitation package. So, you know, really getting good, at least initial interest. A preliminary site visit for interested firms was conducted on April 8th, and we did have 4 firms come out and participate in that site tour. In response to submitted questions, we issued an addendum last week to all participants so that they have the same information for their proposals moving forward. The responses are due on May 5th at noon. Following receipt of those, the selection committee will meet on May 28th to conduct the initial review and ranking of the proposals received. If the committee determines at that time that interviews are necessary, then we have scheduled those, we will be scheduling those for June 12th. The goal is to bring the selection committee's final recommendation forward to the board for consideration at the June 16th board meeting. So that is the timeline we are shooting for there.
Do they break it down per building, the quotation? I mean, I haven't seen any of this, so I'm not really sure what's happening.
So you did have the solicitation package for review. So no, it's not by building because the scope, we're really looking for whatever firm we ultimately select to help in guiding us the most appropriate path. Because in terms of space required for admin and entomology, does it make sense to, have two separate buildings versus a larger footprint of a building,
So
et
this is-
cetera, so,
This is for the architectural firm.
for the architectural
This is
firm.
not for the construction.
Correct.
I see.
Remember, we had to, based on the board's direction, we canceled all of the bids we received, last year when
Okay.
we went through the process and, hiring the architectural firm, due to a legal question. And so this is the second round
Okay.
of solicitation for architectural services, the scope of which is the same.
All right.
Okay, another item, Florida Association of Special Districts. For voting purposes, the association only allows one voting member per organization and automatically designates to the CEO, so the executive director or whatever the title is for that position. Moving forward, I'd like to designate Sherry as a district representative because she currently sits on the board. And so unless anyone has any aversion to that, instead of me being the designee, I'd like to defer to making Sherry Rose our designated representative for FASD as the voting member.
Sounds good.
No objection.
Okay, so we will go forward in making that designation. Major calendar inspection for November 517 Mike Charlie was finalized shortly after our last board meeting. Mr. Rathmeyer has moved on to November 518 Mike Charlie. Again, this is the very large calendar inspection that's required for the aircraft. So he has since moved on to that teardown inspection. We're approximately 2/3 of the way through that inspection on the second aircraft. He's completed the work on the transmission and it is now reassembled and potentially going back in the aircraft maybe today, if not tomorrow. There are a number of remaining components still requiring thorough inspection that we need to work through, such as the tail rotor drive shaft and some replacement parts that we have ordered that are coming from the manufacturer. So we still have some work remaining on this inspection, but we are moving through the process. And last item, I am pleased to report that our treatment drone is now fully registered. Woohoo. We have received registration both from FAA approval and registration through FDACS appropriately. This has been a very long process with the impacting drone legislation that we've gone through in the last year, the partial government shutdown, and then the FAA's just general laborious process. So the team is now beginning to work through the comprehensive training to ensure safe and effective operations with the drone. So a lot of training to be had between now and the time that we are actually making operational treatments, but we are finally able to begin doing so. In parallel, our fleet management staff are building out the drone trailer. As a reminder, this was a repurposed support trailer that was previously used for servicing the helicopters many years ago at our remote landing zones throughout the county, and we're currently outfitting the interior of that space to meet our configuration and operational needs, trying to focus on maximizing efficiencies and functionality for drone use in the field. And that is all I have and concludes my director's report.
Very good, thank you. Any questions, Commissioners? No? All right.
Okay.
Ms.
Thank you.
Johnson, continuation of your community outreach
Yes.
education report.
Yes. So, good morning again, Commissioner. So the Outreach Department plays a key role in our mosquito management program by educating the public, engaging with the Pasco community, and promoting prevention efforts. Through education, we raise awareness and encourage active participation in mosquito control measures that help protect people, pets, and the environment. So myself and Karen, that is in the Outreach Department, this will highlight what has been happening since our last board meeting on March 17th. So, did you know it's Florida Mosquito Control Awareness Week? This is actually Florida Mosquito Control Awareness Week. What does that mean? This week highlights the importance of mosquito control in our community and ways you can protect yourself from mosquitoes and the diseases that they carry. So through this week, we'll be doing some fun little social media things to show the Pasco County community how we are dedicated to them in protecting public health, but also in ways that they can help protect themselves as well. An update on the free tire drop-off week that Director Rogers was speaking of. It was a total success this year. So the total collected, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but this was the number I was given, 5,270 tires. Does that sound about right? Which equals about 93.44 tons. So in that 1 week, now I want to remind the commissioners, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to remind the commissioners that we did have the drop-off location here at Mosquito Control every single day, but we also partnered this year, which we did not do last year, with the Parks and Recs. So there were different Parks and Recs every single day that were an alternative drop-off location. And I think that that outreach that we did, because we had East Pasco and West Pasco parks, those residents then were able to go there instead of coming to the Odessa campus. So that I think helps a lot in collecting tires, because I actually want to say, again, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Land O'Lakes location was, or the Hudson location, I think that was the biggest drop off in numbers. So that really worked to have that partnership with Parks and Rec. So I want to give a big thank you along with our team to the Florida Department of Health in Pasco, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, hundreds of people that honestly shared our event over social media, our residents that dropped off our tires, again, Parks and Rec, and mostly our Pasco County Mosquito Control District team. That's a little bit of a dirty job to be taking tires and throwing them in piles, right? Because these tires are full of water and gunk, and guess what? Larvae. We found a lot of larvae in some of these tires. So huge success this year. So also continuing in March, Karen had some 2-day school programs. She had 4 of those. We had a speaking engagement with the Trinity Salt Homeschool we presented for the Trinity Salt Homeschool, which is actually located at Generations Church. Our team participated in the Chasco Fiesta Street Parade and the Jelly Bean Jamboree, which was in Veterans Park. Part of our team went to the American Mosquito Control Association from March 23rd to the 27th in Portland, Oregon. Myself, Agna, Nick, and Taylor spoke, and my presentation personally was Behind the Buzz, engaging the community through guided mosquito control tours. Here in April already, Karen has had 4 two-day school programs plus 2 one-day programs. I apologize. So Director Rogers had a speaking engagement at the Rotary Club of Holiday. Last week, we also had our Pasco One Health Alliance meeting at, we actually did it at the Pasco County Department of Emergency Management. Director Andy Fossa and Planning Supervisor Krista DeToro did a presentation highlighting how the EOC plans for and responds to both natural and man-made disasters while coordinating countywide emergency preparedness and response. And boy, did we learn a lot. And if the commissioners remember, during the hurricanes, we worked side by side with them in doing some rescues. What was that, 2 years ago now?
2024.
Right? We just had last Thursday, we had the spring class of the Citizens Academy come here and do a nice tour. And I'm gonna tell you, they walked out of here and they said, wow, we had no idea what all the good things that you do to protect public health. So we also prioritize each month building connections with Pasco County residents through a variety of networking and speaking events, recognizing that strong community engagement is vital to effective mosquito control. One in particular that I would like to highlight that I was personally invited to, that I was honored to attend, was the Pasco County Commission on the Status of Women, their 4th annual Women Uplifting Women Luncheon. So, and then we already spoke about the 75th anniversary, which we're super excited for. So, that was a lot, but we do a lot in outreach. So, Any questions?
No grass grows under y'all's feet, that's for sure.
Are you planning, good, congratulations on that tire event. Are you planning on doing another one
Next
towards
year?
next year, not the
Yeah.
end of this year?
I don't think so, I think just one
No,
a year,
just
right?
once a year around the same time.
Okay.
Around the same time, yeah.
Probably takes you a year to recover from that, because that,
We'll have to
There's a
scale
lot.
pumping
it.
tires is
It's a
not
lot
an
of
easy
work.
thing to do.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work.
I noticed about a week and a half ago that the county was doing a community cleanup event in Moon Lake. And they had, it was on a Saturday, they had just a line of pickup trucks bringing stuff up to Moon Lake Road, and I forget what the cross street was there. But they had a bunch of dumpsters, they had one of those big machines that they use during the debris cleanup to pick it up and put it in, and then they also had a pretty significant pile of tires
Yeah.
that were there. So, you know, I was happy to see that because, as you all know, that's a big hot spot for us.
Right.
So, that's good.
Great.
Can I add something to the tires as well? Because there is question of why do we do a tire event? And why does mosquito control get involved in something of that nature? Why do we collect tires? Well, what do tires do?
I mean, I would suggest those people, you know, maybe go out and take a look and.
Right.
And, you know, I had the fortune of going out with the crews, what was that, in 2024?
During the hurricane.
Right, during all that time, and we had a hot spot out in Moon Lake, and the number of tires and such that are collecting and breeding mosquitoes is pretty amazing. I mean, it's scary.
Well, they're huge production sites, and we want to make sure that we continue our efforts in protecting public health, and so that's why we do this community service. So we just want to make sure that the residents are aware this is a huge effort on the team's part that we do to protect public health.
Yeah.
And it's really great that you got some grant money now, because there's a huge amount of money that leaves Pasco County, goes up to the Capitol building and doesn't come back. So it's nice that you're getting some of it to come back to our county.
And to go full circle with that, the funding we were talking about, the aid to local government, the money that is available to us to do these waste tire removal events, that all comes from what you were just alluding to,
The tire fund.
Commissioner Abbott, the Waste Tire Trust Fund. So every dollar that's collected goes into a trust fund, and a certain percentage of that is earmarked for mosquito control and DAX administration through that. The research, the competitive grant research that is for applied mosquito control in the state of Florida. So there is a very significant correlation and connection between used tires and what we do for mosquito control because of their importance in potential for mosquito-borne disease transmission. Aedes aegypti, which is our primary disease vector for dengue, Zika, chikungunya here in the state of Florida. It's likely originated and came to the Americas on used tires shipping across the Atlantic. And so, you know, this is very widely recognized and a big reason that we are here and able to provide this service.
All right, moving on to the safety report. Mr. Nick.
Yes, we had one incident. It was at a red light. They had a car in front of one of our trucks. Must have had a stick shift and they barely tapped our vehicle. There was no injuries, no damage to the vehicle. Agnes team processed all the paperwork, so that was the only incident we had this month. And we completed the spill response class, level 2. We had 20 employees graduate from that class.
Excellent.
And
Thank
this is
you.
our annual training that we bring in a third-party vendor to conduct, and always does a great job in keeping our staff ready for any potential event.
Cool. Very good. On the arborvirus report,
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Within Florida, the activity for West Nile has been just 7 sentinel chickens. Eastern equine Florida has seen 5 sentinel chickens. In terms of dengue, travel-related cases, there have been 27 in Florida. No local cases so far this year. Chikungunya, travel-related cases, there have been 32 cases in Florida. No local transmission. And travel malaria, Florida has seen 10 cases. No activity in Pasco of note at the time. Miami-Dade is under a mosquito-borne illness alert, and Pasco County is currently responding to one Department of Health suspect local dengue case.
Okay, very good. Any questions? All right. Good of the order. Commissioner Evans.
Congratulations on the award for being one of Tampa Bay's best places to work. And your tire event, I know that was a lot of work, but I think it's gonna pay off dividends in the future. But congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
Just a couple, 3 items here. Have we received back the DEX multi-day audit that they did several months ago?
The multi-day audit, in response to the
I think we had a Golden Acres flyover or something.
complaint about our the pesticide operations. I don't believe we've.
I think it's a good sign
Yeah.
We've heard nothing
If we hear back, then that's when you worry.
No.
Thank you.
Well, maybe it's time to ask them for it.
We can certainly follow up with FDEX on
Okay,
that.
they put all that work into it, and all the work you put into it, seems like we ought to see what their findings from the experts are. A little bit of real estate news. Gower's Corner is growing out as we expected it to. So, I'm sure Mr. Cox read the Sunday paper, and he picked up on a new development right next to Pilot Country Estates. I see that Wayne read the paper too. So, as expected, high-end housing is now going into Gower's Corner, which is probably good for us, which leads me to our real estate question. Did we get an escrow receipt?
Ms. Dyer is looking into that, and I have not received a follow-up. And Ms. Donaldson, are you still with us?
Yes.
Was there something that you were looking into on that as well, other than just that the funds that were supposed to have gone hard after the inspection period, since it was now complete, they should be in the escrow account?
Yes, you need me to reach out to the buyer's attorney to get a copy of the escrow receipt. I can send Jerry Lind an email.
Okay.
Okay, I'll follow up with Ms. Dyer first, and then we can,
How's that transaction coming along? Any further difficulties? Everything on track?
No, after the board approved the agreement with, the property owner, he signed it, it's been recorded, and I talked to the buyer. This was before the money went hard, and they were going forward. He had continued, the buyer had continued through this entire process, even with the uncertainty of what was happening with the property across the street, had continued to spend money and go through the entitlement process. So no, they are all ready to go, and I believe the closing occurs no later than January of next year, or
Okay.
December of this year. I mean, yeah, we're all on track. There's been no issue at all.
Okay. So when we look at the budget, we'll take that into consideration for next year. Very good, thank you. That's it for me, thank you.
Very good, very good.
I do have, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
The governor presented our local bill, the local bill for the district on sub-districting the board seats this morning. And so I will continue to update you as I get any word on when that is to be signed, but it is at his desk now. And this also, just as a reminder, corrects the term limits for the board positions to be consistent with board seats of other mosquito control districts. So hopefully that will be signed without issue, and we can move forward accordingly, since June qualifying is right around the corner.
Yep.
And best I can tell, if the map is a mystery, nobody knows where it is, so very good. Good luck to you citizens figuring out where the map is.
Well, that will be on our website. That was the other piece of,
Yeah, the elections office hasn't put it up either.
well, so once the bill is signed, you know, we can have much more detailed information, but we'll get that on our website as well.
Okay.
And then lastly for me, just hope everyone that might be listening and you all spread the word about our 75th anniversary celebration again.
Mhm.
Help us mark this memorable occasion.
Yeah, I did get some invites and response out last week, so keep them going. Thanks for the great email, and I like that flyer. It almost makes me feel like New Year's Eve when I look at it, so that's good. Certainly celebratory. That's good. Is that the response you wanted? I mean, everything matches today, so I mean, you know, the flyer and everything matched, so that's good.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. All right, anything else? Adrian?
That's all I've got, thank you.
Okay, so under good order, I just wanted to say, I think you all know I've been a long-term Rotarian, and so Rotary every month puts out a magazine, and the cover of this one is titled Buzzkill. As science advances, Rotary members join the quest to find vaccines to stop malaria. So there's a very big article in this magazine about malaria and what's sort of being done. And a couple things I want to point out is, so the 25th of this month is World Malaria Day. I did not know that until I read this. But so in 2024, malaria is estimated to have sickened 282 million people. And it killed 610,000 people, of which 75% of them were under the age of 5 years old. It's pretty amazing. And the Institute of, it's a university, I think, in Australia, of biomedicine and glycomics, are developing a potential malaria vaccine candidate with the help of a fundraising partnership with the Rotary Club in Australia. You know, anybody, you know, I travel a fair amount, and I've had, you know, I've taken the pills for malaria. That is a long, drawn-out thing. But they're estimating that sometime in the next 30 to 40 years, there's a high likelihood that they will eliminate malaria from the earth. So, you know, Rotary was on the forefront. It started probably 30, maybe 40 years ago now. I've been a Rotarian for 35 years, and it was in existence when I became a Rotarian, of eliminating the polio from the world. And polio has pretty much been eliminated everywhere. There's a couple little hot spots around the world. There are 2 major countries in it's like Afghanistan, and I forget the other one, but those are about the only places in the world that polio still exists. There's occasionally a case that pops up in other places. We had one in New Jersey, I think, last year. But for the better part of many decades, Rotary's been raising a lot of money to fund that, and has pretty much has eliminated that. So now the focus is starting to turn to other diseases, and it seems like malaria is one that they're looking to do. So I just wanted to mention that. I didn't have nothing else, just wanted to dovetail the comments that the other commissioners made about all the great work you guys are doing. So thank you. Anything else? All right, just noted our upcoming meetings and events, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Remember to keep the books in line anymore.
No.
Keep the books, don't keep the books. Take the stuff out of the books.
They do it for us. They do it for us.
Now that I
Yes, you will.
Yeah, yeah.